Thank you, Travis. So too, I was trying to pick something where I could show you guys why I'm obsessed with unconventional tools. I'm gonna do all the weird things, you guys.
Can we talk about what the goal is?
Yeah, so it's the 315 push press. Like I'm trying to do overhead press.
Have you ever done that?
I've never done it.
Oh, wow.
What?
And we'll move forward. We'll just start building that max strength. And then we'll layer on top of that the acceleration, the power. Bingo, bango, 315. Nice. I feel like nobody else had to compete this much with people in the gym at the same time. Like this is too many people in my space. Unhappy. I can't kick Jerry out. She holds this place together. Adam can do it anywhere, so. Adam can work in, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah. Just some leg swings and you're out? That's all you're gonna do today?
He was getting a baby pump. It's a baby pump.
Dog piece, I mean, it's really functional.
You see how nervous Sal got? Look how much she's been pushing the weight ever since I got in shape.
Yeah, I heard that.
Guy upped his TRT by double and stuff like that because he saw me get in shape.
I don't think that's TRT anymore.
Yeah, I don't think that's TRT.
No, I don't think so.
TRT plus. You gotta back off a little bit, you know, make him nervous.
Definitely doing some snake reach today. Let's get some windmills.
Well, you guys are filming fatty today, huh?
Oh, yeah.
What else do I want to do, Dylan? We want to do some monkey hang. I'm going to add a little bit of hip flexor in that. Let's do some face pulls because here's the thing. The shoulder is a multifaceted joint. We got to get lateral stability. We got to get rotational stability. I got to be able to take it through its full function. And so I'm trying to create a bunch of mobility moves that are going to complement that and to reinforce and get everything nice and solid again so I can pretend to be a young 20-year-old stud again and throw crazy weight over my head, which that's the goal. This is what's happening right now is I'm trying to do something that I wouldn't just do consciously. Like I have to be really intentional with this because when I was younger, I could just grind my way through and muscle it up. But now I have to really be intentional about, well, can my support system handle this? I don't know. I haven't lifted probably more than, I want to say last time I did something real heavy pressing wise was like 225. And I push pressed that. I push pressed 275 before, which is the max. That's as high as I've got back when I was training for athletics and for football. Now I'm just trying to do 315 because why the hell not? It'll be fun. But I know a lot of things now. And like, I want to try and show that muscle maturity and doing things with some science behind it and trying to be a little more smart about my approach. I'm going to see how far this can take me and why not try for a goal that seems like unrealistic. So yeah, so that's kind of what brought me to this idea. It's like, what am I kind of good at in terms of lifts? And overhead press is always one of those. I always felt like I had a pretty good grasp of overhead press and could lift some pretty heavy weight. But I mean, I've never done 315, so this is going to be a challenge. It's going to be a big challenge for me. So just a brief overview. And I'm kind of a little different in terms of like, I can shoot from the hip like the rest of the guys here, but if I'm like going to talk about this for a while, I have to have a good thought around it about planning. And so I got my first phase kind of planned out. A lot of it is going to be heavy on the mobility. It's going to be heavy on isometrics. And I'm going to kind of take you guys through that process. I'm going to take you through the different ways to get rotation. Not a lot of people know how to load rotation correctly and increase that strength. But in your rotator cuff, you got 4 muscles that you got to contend with, and they all have to be strong and support that shoulder girdle. So I don't injure myself, because why do this if I'm going to injure myself? That would be stupid. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to stick with getting reacclimated to good quality shoulder movement, range of motion, strength, and then build upon that with some max loading and progressively increase my overhead strength. And then around month 3, I'm going to get more into the explosive power type movements. And along the way, I wanted to kind of incorporate some friends. So I have a pretty great network in terms of strength coaches, sports specific type coaches. And why not use my network and get some of their opinions and advice along the way? Because I value that. I do that sometimes when writing programs, MAPS programs, especially in the performance side. I do have a lot of experience myself, but I always like a good second opinion. So, and 2, it's just good to give quality coaches a little bit more airtime, I think, and let people kind of find their content, because they need to be heard a lot more, and we need to kind of eliminate a lot of these posers out there. So that's my thought. So get strong and invite your friends. That's sort of that's my mantra for this whole series.
So our buddy Jay Campbell hooked us up with that dude knows everybody. Okay.
Yeah,
So
he does.
I'm like, what can Justin? Is there anything he can use that's going to amplify his results? That is healthy and legal. And
Yeah, we wanted to go the legal route with this, which
no.
I appreciate that.
So he you know, remember when he was on the show, we talked about bioregulators.
Yeah.
Okay, so this company called Promethean, he says it's the best. And what a bioregulator essentially is, it's a peptide that is organ or site specific. So you take it orally, it goes to the organ, and it regulates it in the sense that it optimizes its function. Okay, so it's not forcing anything, but it's optimizing its function.
Okay.
All the studies and data on bioregulators come out of Russia. Now, these are technically supplements because they're capsules, but bioregulators are like any other peptide, they're just not injectable. And again, they're site specific, and the data from the Russian studies on it's pretty amazing and saying, Jay like swears by it. So here's what you got.
Okay.
We have bone marrow bioregulator. So bone marrow because of for stamina and endurance. So it's going to help with red blood cell production. You have cartilage bioregulator. That's obvious. Strengthen your cartilage. You're going to go for a max lift. You want to keep your joints healthy.
Yep.
Blood vessel bioregulator, the pump, nitric oxide, bringing nutrients to the muscle, the body. And then, of course, muscle bioregulator to optimize the health of your muscle and help accelerate muscle protein synthesis. So you're going to be taking what he said was twice a day.
First, yeah. And then, so 2 basically.
A day.
Of each of these.
Of each one of these.
Okay.
They're capsules.
Yeah.
So I'm excited because I've wanted to try ever since we had him on the podcast.
No needles, yeah.
No, and so what we're going to do, and I wrote it down here, is we are going to, let me see. I think we're going to give our audience, if they want to try them, a discount. So it's the link is probr.com/mindpump. And then the discount code is JustinNPM.
Yeah.
That's 10%
This is my first actual discount link.
Yeah, so JustinNPM if they want to try it. But I'm psyched. So bioregulators take a little longer to kick in, but then they last longer. So probably between 4 to 5 weeks is when you're going to see like the main effects of it.
Yeah, that's great because I mean, doing something crazy like this, I've been a little nervous about my joints, and again, I could add all the priming sequences and I could do all the right things, but now I'm really going to be adding the stress. So this is going to help with that for sure.
Excited to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm going to crank all of these out on its maiden voyage here into my belly. We're going to shuttle these bad boys in and see what happens. All that sounds wrong, but I'm going with it. So this is, technically these are still peptides. It's just a different
variation of it. It's more site specific, as he said. So I've taken peptides before, especially DPC and thymosin alpha for any kind of tissue repair and recovery. But to consistently take, I think obviously too, the pill versions can be a lot easier for me to be consistent with that. But I mean, this is definitely a concern I have going into this, is really keeping up the health and you know, the cartilage and the tissue there and everything in the, you know, in the tendons and the ligaments, and making sure that I'm getting good blood flow. So all those things are a big consideration. It's less really about calories and macros, and obviously I'm going to be shooting for a lot of protein to help aid with, you know, building materials for this. And for me specifically, I have, you know, gut things that I work through. So adding an excessive amount of calories is difficult because it's just, once I hit that threshold, I get the reactivity goes up substantially. So I'll be playing around with that and trying to manage nutritionally, you know, what's the best balance with that. And, you know, another sponsor that I'm trying to bring into this is Legion, because one of their products, their whey protein, is one of my favorites in terms of digestibility. So that's something I can include, you know, substantial amount of calories and protein by doing that. And, you know, not have the reactivity I would from any other kind of whey protein, and then creatine. So it's like, you know, what's the supplements that actually have a substantial amount of impact? Like, that's about as good as you're going to get. And then everything else is pretty much illegal. So this is what I got, and we're gonna ride this out and see how it all plays out. But I'm just going to try and be consistent and get on camera. Here I am. I'm taking my pills. Let's go. And make sure I have that accountability there. Because pretty much just like anybody else, I think taking pills for me is not something that I do very well. You know, I'm a human being. Yeah, that's the plan. Let's see. I'm going to grab some mobility sticks, which some people know, some people don't know, but I'm good friends with the creators of this stick mobility. The whole modality and the stick concept and everything was adopted by some of my friends, Mitch, Neil, Dennis, and they all kind of created at the same time. I was at this gym called NorCal Functional Fitness, but it was cool being around them because we all had emerging ideas that we were working on at the same time. And they came up with this stick in a whole kind of way to do yoga using these sticks and a lot of mobility moves. So anyways, I'm going to work on my shoulder depression right now. So we call this the monkey hang. I'm going to be pushing down, using my effort, kind of driving the stick into the ground. So I'm depressing my shoulder blade. And I'm going to isometrically kind of pull down while also in a split stance, so I can also get my hip flexor, which has been nagging at me a lot. Throwing a little rotation for fun. But really what I'm trying to do is start that whole process of packing my shoulder. So the more I can get those shoulder blades to depress and really pack my shoulders down, I can really take on a lot more load and account for a lot more force. So the force is more evenly distributed throughout my body. If I don't have a weak spot there, my shoulder girdle isn't packed, that force is going to go right to the weak point and expose that. Also, too, I don't know if you guys drive a lot in traffic, but it's been destroying me as of late. A lot of times, too, so my my foot just naturally internally rotates. Actually, my heel, it externally rotates. So my heel comes in, my toe comes out. And so half the time I'm trying to correct that because it creates this crazy tightness here in my piriformis and down throughout my T-band. And so some of these things are really, I mean, most of these things are specific to me, and that's kind of the point of this. That's something that I'm always trying to contend and deal with. But this is a good counter to that. So the whole time you'll hear me kind of grinding through, but I'm really trying to apply tension through these movements. So that way I can kind of regain support there, and it's not just a passive stretch. It's a very active, intentional stretch to try and correct that. But I do that one frequently. I do that when I get home after I'm done sitting in my car forever. We sit so much on the podcast. It sucks. I hate sitting. I just want to get up and move and walk. So it's going to take me a while to just unwind literally here. I call this one the archer stretch. This hits the whole lateral line here. So I had an issue a while back with my QL. And this is one of those mobility moves that have helped me to address that. Of course, I'm really worried about my mid drift here I'm exposing to you guys. It's very sexy. This is the first time I've worn shorts in a while too. I don't know if you noticed. The sun hasn't been out in a while. We're gonna go for some shoulder rotations here. This is another one here. I'm trying to prep a little bit of rotation in my priming sequence. So I'm gonna press forward to create that tension response. It also helps kind of open up the chest. I'm gonna push forward while rotating and getting an alternating kind of circular pattern here. I'm gonna do all the weird things, you guys. I mean, you've probably seen your favorite bodybuilder do this, I'm sure, and then backwards. Woo! It's helpful having a stick as a prop, I'll be honest. I don't like yoga per se, I'll do it sometimes. This makes me feel a little bit more like a, I don't know, warrior, athlete, something else other than a yogi. But mobility is one of those things that I've found so much benefit from that I'll do it in front of anybody, I don't care. Judge me. Try this one out. This one sucks. Okay, so this is the snake reach. And you'll see why it's the snake, because it's very twisty and uncomfortable. I take my arm, I kind of come through here, wrap it around the back of my shoulder. I'm gonna adjust the point here, anchor point, move it slightly over to intensify it. I'm gonna try and go as far to the left as possible. Oh, and stretch the rib cage all the way through that QL, oblique, lats, you name it. My focus today is to build up my core stability and reinforce my shoulder girdle. Those are the two things I want to accomplish. And then press at the end. So every workout I'm going to do some variation of pressing. So call it your press every day program is something that I'm sort of creating for myself. I got to write myself my own MAPS program. So this, and through, and then here, oh yeah. A lot more restrictive on this side. And I'm also trying to kind of engage my glutes, so I'm pressing my hips forward, and that intensifies the stretch even more. So this isn't a bad soundtrack, I'll be honest, but it's not mine. We'll warm you guys up to my playlist, which is fine. It's gonna be a little more raucous than this, but I mean, Metallica is great. I'm gonna go ahead and start with some single arm exercises. I'm gonna go single arm deadlift first, and we're gonna do a single arm overhead hold, build some strength there and stability. So strength, stability is what I'm going for here. 10 pounds. Let's start with that. I'm just gonna kind of get a good placement here with my hand, find the balance. Somewhere around there. I'll just hold it for 15 seconds. I'm gonna increase the load. Okay, let's try on the left side. All right, let's put some weight on here. And this is kind of like a little bit of a inventory check here. See what kind of grip, strength I got. Grip's always been one of those I've really had to work at. Pressing, that's easier. Pulling, it's not my jam. When I go heavy, it's a good thing to use chalk, but especially with these one arm holds, we'll cross that bridge if I need to. Just that little bit. What I love about barbells is you get that movement because the lever's long. So it moves on you, and you got to prevent that rotation from happening. And obviously the weight increases the potential for movement. So I'll do one more little weight increase and then we'll move on here. My way or the highway. Limp Biscuit. They're popular again all of a sudden. Okay, so a lot of these one-arm barbell exercises are in our old-time strength program. And I love that program. It's definitely challenged me in all kinds of different ways, but I just found that it especially strengthened my grip and support and all the secondary muscle groups that are there to complement and to stabilize and contain a lot of these rotational and lateral forces that usually it's like that one little movement and tweak with the barbell that throws the whole bar path off. And then you got to dump the weight because, you know, your stabilizer muscles aren't as strong as they should be. And so try to get ahead of this, eliminate all the potential leaks in performance, and do all the mundane stuff. Like this workout's not going to be super highlight worthy, but it's definitely serving me long term here. So we got to build off of something. Okay, so finding that right point in the barbell is everything. Otherwise, this thing gets real wonky. Yeah, I see a lot more dip and rotation of that once you start getting up in weight. See the fulcrum there, that point, midpoint was off a bit. So just that little I don't know, centimeter is everything. It wasn't a that's what she said joke, but that's what I was thinking in my mind. It feels balanced. Oh, yeah, not anymore. Nope. Need to move on that. So I try to start with the more challenging ones first in terms of having to stabilize, and the more intense, usually compound lifts. Try to get those out first before fatigue is a factor. So that's why we're gonna go to an overhead hold here next with the barbell. I do want to get some pressing in today though. And my plan with that is a Z press, because there hasn't been an exercise that's addressed core stability more, I think, than the Z press. Like typically you get leg drive and you get support from a lot of the major muscles in your legs to help stabilize your back. But if you eliminate that and we just focus on the actual pressing and that direct line with, you have to really be intentional with keeping your core rigid as possible. So it's a bit of an equalizer, especially having good form with a barbell pressing when you don't have any leg support. One of my favorites, definitely one I would have focused on more with my clients back in the day. It's a crowd pleaser. All right, let's set this up. All right, let's start with the bar and kind of work our way up here. So I was trying to pick something where I could show you guys why I'm obsessed with unconventional tools. And for performance goals, they make a lot of sense. A lot of times they don't make that much sense for aesthetic goals, but getting rotation and getting loaded rotation is a really hard thing to achieve. And Indian clubs and mace bells are really good for that. So I'm definitely going to include those in the series, because I love using them too. And it's a skill that you develop and you understand the movement patterns, and you can see how pretty much all, like from your wrist, your elbow, your shoulder, all of that benefits greatly from the attention. It's like, how are you going to get strong at a movement if you don't even intentionally work on that movement? So working on rotation with load to strengthen, instead of just, I feel like people go from like 0 to 100 with rotation. And then they find themselves vulnerable for that overreaction or compensation that can occur, and then get injured, hurt themselves because they can't stabilize or they can't react properly. So I'm not to say I'm like amazing at it, but I've always tried to be intentional when adding rotation into my workouts for that fact, because I'm not trying to get injured. I'm trying to move well into my 90s. You know, that's my goal. Okay, that middle point is everything. Let's see if I get it right this time. Okay. And you feel it right away. If one side kind of comes up a bit high, like this front side's a little high, so I could bring my hand forward a bit. Oh, and it twists right away, which is something. So brace, pack my shoulder, so I'm depressing my shoulder down, and I'm just trying to maintain this without any rotation. A lot of times you'll see me kind of make a fist with the other hand, and that helps to irradiate and stabilize even more effectively. Bring it back down. It's not heavy, but it's weird and awkward. And then you got to account for that. So that long lever is a different animal. Bring the weight up here. Let's do this. I'm that guy that's guilty of just jumping up to the 25s, the 45s, and just getting after it. But I'm gonna try and do this with a little more measured approach. Okay. I don't want these flying off. All right, yeah, I gotta change the music. I can't lift weights to this shit. Is my phone over there? No, it's over here. Who's got this? Let's kick you off. I want to introduce you to a new band, dude. They're called Rock's Ferry. Oh, this is a good song though. Damn. Of course, it's all right. I was all amped because I just found a new band. They sound like if you were to take Rage Against the Machine and Royal Blood and kind of smash them together, it was kind of that vibe. But which I'm a big fan of both. So, oh, you do? Yeah. Let me do this real quick. If you, it was at Bose, right? Oh, there it is. Accept me. Yeah. There we are. Let's start with this. Okay. Now I'm ready to lift. Is that balanced? Ah, it's pretty balanced. All right, that's the easy side. So you gotta fight those natural things that body wants to cheat. Want to flex that elbow, and then it rotates a bit. Once you let it rotate, it's like it gets away from you real fast. Let's do one more set though with challenging weight. I don't know the highest I've done this. I think it's probably like, 135 for sure, but I think I did more than that once, but it's a doozy. Some of you out there right now are bummed that I'm not doing a bodybuilder challenge. I know, it's just not my thing. I just want to get strong, and that's just how I roll. I didn't really care even about the six-pack thing. I know that's been a lot of people's goals and what drives people to get into the gym. I just, it's just the performance. I think it's the sports background because I want to see what works. And if I can build and develop something, what that then translates to. So, getting balloon muscles is just, it's cool, but it's a lot cooler. It just is. Let's get it. Okay, awkward start. So, a few points for myself. The lockout's pretty strong and stabilizing, but that initial lift, I'm gonna have to work on that. It's a bit of a struggle. It's not a great song for this. Maybe something with some balls. No, nope, no, nope, no, nope. There we go. Okay. That was a little more challenging. Yes, there will be grunting. I'm sure at one point in this series, someone's gonna hit the lunk alarm, and that's okay. That's the other thing about anything over your head, you gotta know how to bail too, so we'll get into that once we start putting heavy weight overhead here. That already was challenging on my left arm to stabilize, so that's why I'm trying to kind of take my time and address these things as I go. Already was turning on me hard, had to correct that real time. It was a bitch for me to lift that up. And I need this guy to catch up a little bit. So more unilateral work in my future for sure. Okay, we're gonna do some walking lunges. I'm gonna keep reinforcing this rack position. You'll see too, I'll work on some shoulder scapular circles and things like that where I really get that protraction, elevation, retraction, depression in that sequence or in reverse sequence. And you just need to find wherever my shoulders are, I need to get back to that pack want to pack them in so it's supported and all that force can evenly distribute down through my body. So you just be surprised how much more weight you can lift over your head once you really master that. Let me turn this down a little bit. Dude, I haven't done lunges in a while. So it sounded like a good idea. This is probably going to be not as fun as I drew it up to be. Ego check. We're going to go lightweights. It's a weird thing. I've experienced the opposite of what most people have too tight of hip flexors. My hip flexors are too weak right now. And it's causing pain in my hips. And then on top of that, all the external rotation with my foot when I'm driving and then sitting. So there's a whole hot mess going on here that I'm trying to deal with. We need to get stronger there. I'm gonna do one more set, but this time I'm gonna keep one arm overhead and one arm in the rack position. I guess contralateral loading. Really, I'm just working on my overhead stability with this while in movement, which I'm gonna be doing a lot, as well as walking with weight overhead, just so I keep reinforcing that overhead stability. But why not throw it in a lunge walk, right? Let's do it. Makes sense to me.
Are you just gonna overdo it?
Yeah.
Are you just gonna overdo it?
Yeah.
Adam's approach, do as little as possible. Justin's approach.
It's not in my ethos, Sal.
It's all full bore.
It's all or nothing, dude.
He's
That's
a maniac. He's a maniac.
it's make or break. Like, I'm gonna hit that number. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be pretty. There might be damage afterwards. I have to be stronger than my kids, and that's the real motivation. Is just be stronger than your kids, especially your kids' friends' parents. Forget that, dude. Don't be the weak dad in these parent meetings. You want to strike fear in everybody when you walk into a room. Like you could crush their soul. So I don't really have that edge anymore. And I want to pump it back up. So that's the real motivator. And, you know, if you guys learn something along the way, that's a bonus. I think that's good. I love teaching, but at the same time, I like doing. So you don't hear me talk quite as much on the podcast, but I'm like behind the scenes doing things all day long. So it's more my personality. So this is outside my comfort zone, but I look at you as a friend. So that's how I have to approach this. You're my friend and you're hanging out. I'm just kind of describing to you what I'm doing. Okay, enough. Here we go. Pack that shoulder down. Woo! I'm not really gonna overdo it, okay? That's all joking aside. It may happen, but not intentionally. It's all a matter of if I stick with the plan. Energy, emotion, and ego, the 3 E's. I'm gonna have to put those in check. So that's it, I just came up with that. Trying to have my own Alex Hormozy moment. I come up with a lot of acronyms just on the spot. Oh God, my hamstrings already feel it. That's when you know it's been a long time. Legs wise, this is all I'm gonna do for today. I had a plan of doing maybe a front squat, but just like that, look at me, I'm gonna cut that out, listen to my body, and work on that next time. Now, front squats are gonna appear a lot more in this series than back squats, and that's intentional because I wanna really acclimate to heavier load resting in front in that front rack position. I just want to make it feel like that's not even heavy weight. So the more exposure I can get to just like crushing myself with load, even load like 405 or whatever it is, just holding it and acclimating to that is going to help in this position and then also overhead position. And I am giving myself grace to do a push press. So there will be a hip hinge and there'll be power and acceleration in there, which will help my cause. So it's not going to be a strict press. Still a lot of damn weight, so I gotta be smart.
How many exercises have you done?
It's only like 4. I mean, not including all the mobility ones.
All right. He's a mule. A horse.
I'm like, this is like a fraction of what I normally would crush myself, so I'm trying to be smarter, dude. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah, but I was a serious athlete. Let me tell you about it. Just kidding. I was part of a couple championship teams: football, basketball, baseball. Played rugby in college too. Anything that was gave you the ability to inflict pain on somebody. That's my jam. Yeah, do a little Muay Thai for fun there for a minute. It was fun. Part of my body craves that impact and that high intensity training. So I don't know, maybe this will spark back a little bit more of the intensive training. I've been coasting. I'm gonna be real honest with you guys. Just come in and do work, like focus on lifting and building up my kids because they're in sports right now. And I'm like, all hands on deck. I'm trying to teach and help improve their skills so they can get further in these sports that they're pursuing. And it's like, finally, it's my time. I get to kind of build and shape and mold my kids. I've been waiting, but like doing things that revolve around yourself and improvement, sometimes you put those as a lower priority. So thankfully, with weight training, you don't have to do a whole lot. It doesn't have to be crazy all the time. I can maintain pretty well. And that's all I've been doing. I'll do like 15, 20 minutes a day, at least 4 consecutive days. And that's just been sort of my MO. I'll get home and I'll do some compound lifts, either squats, deadlifts, bench, overhead press, rows, and then ring dips and ring pull-ups and, that kind of thing. But being really intentional about like getting stronger and moving the needle forward has been, I want to say, how long have we been doing this? We've been doing this podcast for 10 years. Last time would have probably been like 7 or 8 years ago. So I'm not the greatest influencer. I'm sorry, guys. But hopefully I can show you it's still there. So we're going to do some Z press next. My personality, it helps to, I guess, tame the crazy animal inside me. And it's only because of what I've fed off of so many years of, I used to feed off of that anger and the pain of it. And I turned that into fuel. And you see, like, sometimes, I don't know, some athletes, to their detriment, they're still like that. They have to like create an enemy and they have to,
the only way they can summon that kind of strength is when they're really pissed off and really focused and intense. And so that's still there. So it served me well. And so that's the other part. You kind of like, you juggle. You're like, well, I did lift a lot more weight when I would get angry and just really use that and fueled myself with that. But it doesn't serve me in life. And it comes out when I'm frustrated, or it comes out, you know, when the dog does something like, like yesterday, the dog ran into a skunk and then got my entire house like smells like skunk and rubbed himself all over me. And I'm sitting in traffic for 4 hours, and you know, and I'm raging inside, but I'm like learning and trying to figure out to the best of my ability how to calm that down and how to find that kind of peace and that zen. So it does serve you. It does serve you in, like, especially in battle scenarios and like really aggressive sports where you need that extra bit of edge, where it's kill or be killed. Like that's kind of how football was for me. And so you need that edge. And so it's healthy to work mentally and be disciplined and endure things. So sometimes it's good to press that just to make sure that you have the mental fortitude and the strength so that's why when we're talking about athletes versus like everyday average people, where we're trying to teach them healthy habits of how to extend the quality of their life, we usually don't bring up a lot of that mental fortitude and really like pressure testing, which I think athletes need that because they need that edge and they need to have that kind of kill switch when they need to use it. So I like having that kill switch still there. I want to be dangerous. And that's what I feel like I don't have to turn that switch on pretty much anytime anymore, but I don't want to be caught with forgetting how to use it. So you got to train it. If you don't train it, it may not be there for you when you need it. So, yeah, like, so just taking yourself to certain levels. And this is where PRs and like strength challenges, it helps to kind of bring all that back up. And that's kind of what this is to me. I've been really focusing more on, especially with cold plunges and with meditation and mobility and like yoga and stuff like that. It's like, I never did that my entire career in athletics. And so that had such a big impact on me that I've leaned so much in that direction that I've kind of abandoned my grit and determination and dangerous sort of behavior that was beneficial to me. This might not resonate with everybody, but it's definitely something that gave me an advantage as an athlete. Like I could turn that on. I could, you know, mow you over when I needed to. And that was something that I liked to have the ability to do. I think it's important, especially for men, especially if you have two boys like I do. Like they need to be checked. Obviously, they need to be loved and respected. And but I'm setting boundaries, and I'm trying to prove to them through modeling and through an example of when and where that to use that kind of energy. And I tried my best to just use it in the athletic realm. So where there's rules or if somebody was in danger and I was helping protect a friend or something like that, that's where it would come out. I'm not just trying to be a trophy dad. You know what I mean? Okay, so I want a wide base of support here with my legs. I'm trying to tighten my core, make a fist out of my wrists. Start on my chest. Five to 8 reps, but just start light. Really, this is a light exercise that I'm just trying to work on my overall overhead stability. Did I also mention that I'm 45 years old? I know. I dress like I'm still 15, but You know, if you stay consistently the same style, eventually it's cool again. Everybody's trying to dress all 90s now. It's classic. I got adequate rest there. We'll find out. We're just gonna finish up with some lat pull downs. So normally I do like, probably do some pull ups for a good pulling movement to throw in there. Throw in some bent over barbell rows, something like that. But since it's my first attempt back at it, finish out now. We can get more of that in range now from pulling instead of pushing here. So something else I'd like to incorporate in this series is the use of the landmine as a tool, especially for explosive moves like cleans, clean and jerks, things like that. Landmine University has some great content for that, and been able to absorb some of that and a lot of David Weck's methods of coiling, and you just think of that as a way to increase your power output. The more we can create tension, just like a spring, if we can compress that spring, then all of that energy potential can be unlocked. So that's going to be part of my goal too, is to really, you know, see if I can improve ways of creating that natural tension and coiling to help aid and fuel this power output that I need from the very first part of the lift. So if I'm going to try and do 315, I really need a lot of initial explosive power to drive up to this point where my strength and then stability plays a factor. So all of this is going to be the acceleration part. And that's what I'm going to work on more in the third month. So this month is support system, bulletproofing, the whole shoulder girdle. Next month's more focus on max strength and really getting good at the skill of overhead pressing. And also test that with a little bit of chaos training that Smitty and DeFranco are kind of famous for. And I'll show you what that looks like as well. So there'll be some cool stuff that we'll cover in this. And then obviously, I'm going to put 315 on the bar, and then we'll see where we go from there. So even with these, I make sure to secure and stabilize here. Even doing the most mundane exercise like a lat pull down. Still working on that. So my head is in through the window like this. This is a position I want to get real comfortable with. A lot of people don't have the mobility even to keep the inside of their elbows in line with their ears. Not to mention all you guys are getting stronger, so I don't want you guys to surpass me. I'd be really bummed out. So not gonna let it happen. All right. Yeah. Or whatever, right? posing. I'll get Adam in one of these and he can teach me. So that's it for today. I'll do my decompressing cool down tomorrow. More mobility, so just light movement. Still going to be pressing, really lightweight. Thursday, I'm going to get after it again, so hopefully we can shoot that. We'll see you guys next time.